All right, so today we are diving into a book that has been helping people handle change for over 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson.
A classic.
Yeah, and it's told as a parable with, a deceptively simple premise.
Right.
With these four characters running around a maze looking for cheese.
Yeah.
But this cheese is like a powerful metaphor for what we all want out of life, whether it's a good career,
Yeah.
a loving relationship, or just a sense of purpose even.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes it so enduring, right?
Yeah.
It's that we can all relate to this idea of searching for something.
Totally. Yeah.
And, the maze itself represents the complexities of life.
Yeah.
All the twists and turns and, the unexpected challenges that come our way.
And what I think is so brilliant is that it allows us to step back from our own lives a bit
Totally.
and see our struggles with change in this kind of new perspective.
Yeah, it's like it takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
We can look at these characters.
Yeah.
The mice sniff and scurry, the little people hem and haw.
Yeah.
And see ourselves in them without feeling like judged or criticized.
Exactly. And as we get to know each character, it becomes clear that they each represent a different way people deal with change.
Yeah.
You've got Sniff, who is always like on alert, sniffing out the air, anticipating change before it even happens.
The planner.
Yes.
Exactly.
Always thinking ahead.
Then you have Scurry. He is all about action.
Yes.
Just dives in and figures things out as he goes.
Doesn't overthink it.
Nope.
Just goes for it.
Yeah, and I love that contrast because it really highlights the fact that there is no one right way to react to change.
Exactly.
It's about figuring out what works for you and understanding your own strengths and weaknesses when it comes to adapting.
Absolutely, because we all have our own unique style.
We do.
Some of us are more cautious, like Sniff. Some of us are more impulsive, like Scurry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important to remember that both approaches have their merits.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we can't forget about Hem and Haw.
Oh, no.
Now he's the one who really gets stuck.
Yeah.
Resistant to change, clings to the familiar,
Mm.
gets paralyzed by fear and denial.
He's comfortable.
Yes.
And he doesn't want anything to disrupt that comfort.
Yeah, and his reactions, while frustrating to read,
For sure.
they're so relatable.
Oh, absolutely. I think we've all been a little bit of him at some point in our lives.
Oh, for sure.
Clinging to what we know, even if it's not really serving us anymore.
Right, and this is where I think the book's deeper message starts to emerge.
Okay.
It's not the change itself that's the problem.
Right.
It's our resistance to it.
Our fear of the unknown.
Exactly.
And our unwillingness to let go of the past.
But that's where Haw comes in.
Yeah.
He starts off just as resistant as him.
Mm.
But eventually he realizes he can't stay stuck forever.
He has to move on.
He does. And he learns to let go of that old cheese.
Mm.
And embraces the possibility of finding something new.
Something better.
Something even better. And Haw's journey, I think, is so inspiring.
Yeah.
Because it shows us that even when we feel lost and afraid, we actually do have the power to change our mindset.
Absolutely. It's a choice.
It is.
We can choose to stay stuck, or we can choose to learn from our experiences and move forward.
And I think a lot of us can relate to Hem and Haw
I think so, too.
more than we would like to admit.
Yeah.
So as we go deeper into this book's wisdom, I want everyone listening
Mm-hmm.
to keep those characters in mind and think about times when you have struggled with change,
Yeah.
when you have maybe been a little too much like him,
All right.
holding on to something that's no longer there.
Absolutely.
And just as importantly, I want you to think about the times when you have successfully navigated change,
Yeah.
when you embraced the unknown and came out stronger on the other side.
Like when you surprised yourself
Yeah.
with your own resilience and adaptability.
Exactly, because we all have those moments.
We do.
And I think tapping into those experiences can give us the courage to face whatever challenges are coming next.
Because change is always coming.
Yes, it is a constant.
And the more prepared we are to embrace it,
Yeah,
the more fulfilling our journey will be.
absolutely. All right, so let's dive into some of the key takeaways from Who Moved My Cheese and see how we can apply these lessons to our own lives.
Let's do it. It's amazing how Johnson just uses these simple characters, right?
Yeah.
To show such complex emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really captures that fear and denial and, just all that frustration that comes with change. But then he also shows us the power of hope,
Yeah.
courage, and ultimately acceptance.
Right. It's like he is holding up a mirror to our own lives.
Yeah.
And one of the most powerful messages I think that comes out of this book
Okay.
is that clinging to the old cheese, those things that we get comfortable with
Yeah.
can actually hold us back
Oh, yeah.
from new opportunities and new sources of happiness.
Absolutely. It's like we become so attached to what we know,
Right.
even when it's not serving us anymore,
Mhm.
that we're afraid to let go and explore something new.
Think about Hammock, right?
Oh, yeah.
Refusing to leave that empty cheese station.
Oh, yeah. He's stuck.
He is so focused on what he has lost
Hmm.
that he can't even see what might be waiting around the corner.
It's like that fear blinds him.
Yeah, and it's not just material things. Anything we value. A
Exact.
career path.
Yeah,
A relationship. A belief system. Even our sense of identity.
absolutely. Sometimes the cheese moving means that our values need to shift.
Right.
Or, maybe our priorities need to change.
Yeah,
It can be unsettling,
for sure.
but it can also be like an incredible opportunity
Yeah.
for growth and self-discovery.
So how do we know when our cheese is starting to move?
Oh, that's a good question.
What are some signs we should be paying attention to?
Well, I think it can be subtle at first.
Okay.
Maybe you are starting to feel restless
Uh-huh.
or unfulfilled in your job, or maybe a relationship feels strained.
Okay.
Or you just find yourself questioning things that you used to take for granted.
Okay.
I think those feelings can
Yeah.
be early indicators that something needs to change.
So it's kind of like sniff, right?
Yes,
Always sniffing out the air.
always aware.
Sensing those little shifts in the environment before the cheese disappears completely.
Exactly. It's like developing that sensitivity to change,
Yeah.
paying attention to our own internal compass,
Mm-hmm.
noticing those subtle cues that something's not quite right.
But being aware of the change is just the first step.
Right.
We also need to know how to respond to it.
Yeah, how do we move forward?
How do we overcome that fear
Mm-hmm.
and inertia that keeps us stuck like him?
Well, remember Scurry?
Yeah.
He didn't overthink it. He just took action.
Right.
Sometimes the best way to deal with fear is to just dive in
Yeah.
and start moving.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Exactly.
But how do we actually put that into practice?
Okay. Well, I think one strategy is to break down the change
Okay.
into smaller, more manageable steps.
Uh,
So instead of trying to tackle everything at once,
Right.
identify one small action you can take today
Mhm.
to move closer to your new cheese.
So if you are feeling stuck in your career, for example,
Yeah.
maybe you start by updating your resume or reaching out to someone in your network.
Great examples.
Or if a relationship is struggling,
Yeah.
maybe you initiate a conversation
Yeah.
about your needs and expectations.
Absolutely. Communication is key.
Yeah. And as you start taking action, no matter how small, you start to build momentum
You do.
and confidence.
And you start to realize that you have more control
Yeah.
than you thought you did.
And remember,
Yes.
despite his initial resistance,
Mm-hmm.
he eventually realized that clinging to his fear was only making things worse.
Right. He was creating his own suffering.
And he asked himself that powerful question,
Mm-hmm.
what would I do if I weren't afraid?
Oh, that's a good one.
And that is something I think we can all benefit from asking ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. Because often
Yeah.
the fear that we build up in our minds is far worse than the reality of the situation.
So true. So let's talk about real life applications.
Okay.
We've got this framework of the characters,
Yeah.
the cheese moving.
Yeah.
But how does this actually play out in our everyday lives?
Well, I think about it.
Yeah,
The world is changing faster than ever before.
it is.
Technology is constantly evolving. Industries are being disrupted.
Yeah,
And those traditional paths to success
right.
are becoming less and less reliable.
Yeah, it feels like we're all navigating this maze where
Yeah.
the cheese is constantly moving.
And that's why I think the lessons from Who Moved My Cheese
Yeah,
are more relevant now than ever.
I agree.
Whether you are facing a career change,
Mm-hmm.
a relationship shift,
Yeah,
a personal challenge.
or just trying to adapt
Yeah.
to this ever-increasing pace of life.
Absolutely. The principles of adaptability, resilience, and letting go of the familiar are essential
Yeah.
for not just surviving, but
cool.
thriving.
So as you're listening,
Yeah.
I want you to think about your own cheese.
Mm-hmm.
What are those things that you're striving for?
Mhm.
What are your goals, your dreams,
What are your values?
your deepest desires?
Yeah. And how might those things be moving right now?
Yeah.
Are there any changes on the horizon that you need to be aware of or
Right.
prepare for?
It's about taking that proactive approach to change,
Yeah.
being like sniff,
Mm-hmm.
constantly scanning the environment for those early signs of shifting cheese.
Because the sooner we recognize that change is inevitable,
Mm-hmm.
the better equipped we'll be to navigate it successfully
Yeah.
and even embrace it as an opportunity for growth.
You know, it's so empowering when you realize that we aren't just passive bystanders. You know, in this maze of life,
Yeah.
we can actually choose how we respond
It's true.
to the cheese moving,
Yeah.
even if it feels scary or uncertain at first,
It's like taking ownership. Yeah.
of our own journey.
And that's what I think separates the people who thrive in the face of change
Yeah.
from those who get stuck.
Right. It's not about avoiding change altogether because that's impossible.
Yeah.
It's about developing the skills and the mindset
Right.
to adapt and actually leverage that change.
To our advantage.
Yeah.
So what are some practical strategies
Okay.
that we can use to become more like Sniff and Scurry,
Yeah.
those masters of adaptation?
The masters.
How do we cultivate that sense of awareness and willingness to take action even when we're feeling uncertain?
Well, one powerful tool is something called mental rehearsal.
Okay.
So imagine yourself successfully navigating
Okay.
a change that you are facing.
Yeah.
Visualize yourself taking those necessary steps,
Mm-hmm.
overcoming the challenges, and ultimately reaching your new cheese.
So it's like creating a mental roadmap
Exactly.
for change.
Yeah. And the more we kind of rehearse those positive outcomes in our minds,
Yeah. The more confident and prepared we'll feel
right.
when we actually encounter those situations in real life.
And another key strategy, I think, is to focus on building our resilience.
Oh, yeah. Resilience is essential.
It is that ability to bounce back from setbacks, to learn from our mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
and to keep moving forward,
Keep going.
even when things don't go according to plan.
Because they won't always go according to plan.
Exactly. Let's face it, not every attempt to find new cheese is going to be successful.
Nope.
We're going to hit dead ends,
Wrong turns.
wrong turns, and just feel lost and discouraged sometimes.
Yeah, that's part of the process.
But that's okay.
It is.
Those experiences, I think, are actually valuable learning opportunities.
Absolutely.
The key is to not let them define us,
Yeah.
to not fall into that trap of self-doubt and negativity.
It's about learning from those experiences.
Yeah, so how do we actually cultivate that resilience?
Okay, so one practice is to reframe our failures as feedback.
Okay.
So instead of seeing setbacks as like personal shortcomings,
Right.
view them as valuable data points
That's
that can
right.
inform our future choices and actions.
So it's like treating each wrong turn in the maze as an opportunity to gather information
Yes,
and adjust our course.
exactly. And another key element of resilience is self-care.
So important.
Oh, it's crucial. Make sure you are taking care of your physical, mental, emotional well-being.
So true.
Get enough sleep, eat nourishing food,
Mm-hmm.
move your body, spend time in nature,
Yeah.
nurture your relationships.
Because when we're taking care of ourselves, we are so much better equipped
Oh, yeah.
to handle whatever life throws our way.
Absolutely. And remember, you don't have to go through this alone.
It takes a village.
It does seek support from friends, family mentors, a therapist.
Yeah.
Having a strong support system can make all the difference.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Who Moved My Cheese,
Okay,
let's go back to that final thought-provoking question.
I like it.
As you are navigating your own personal maze, what cheese are you holding on to that might actually be holding you back?
Good question.
What are those old beliefs and habits
Yeah.
or patterns that are no longer serving you?
What are you afraid to let go of?
Even though you know deep down,
Yeah.
it's time to move on.
Powerful questions.
They are, and remember, the cheese is always moving.
Always.
It's up to us to decide if we're going to stay stuck in the past
Mm-hmm.
or embrace the adventure
Yeah.
of finding something new
Something better.
and even better.
Keep exploring, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep moving with the cheese.